Hello everyone, Tracy Coughlin with Four Wheel Consulting, and today we're going to talk about life by design, not by default. I want to start off with a quote or a fact that I picked up. Since the year 2000, Gallup has polled millions of employees from nearly 200 countries around the world about their job satisfaction. In 2013, Forbes magazine reported on the poll, saying work is more often a source of frustration than fulfillment for nearly 90% of the world's workers. Wow. The number of global employees described by Gallup as emotionally disconnected from their workplaces is only slightly better this year at 85% than 4 years ago at 87%. The rate is slightly better in some countries, like the United States, where the 70% of people hate their jobs, and worse in others. These people are living a life by default. So my goal here today is to teach you about how to be intentional, living your life by design. So the reality of being a business owner, especially in real estate, is that you're going to spend 80% of your day on the job, the J-O-B, the busy work, the chaos. So you need to spend 20% of your day preparing for that day and for the future. So what is our job? Our job is constant phone calls, inspections, resolutions, showing houses, negotiating contracts, counteroffers. Right now it's counteroffer upon the counteroffer, right? Communicating with the lender, appraisals, paperwork, more paperwork. So we're doing that 80% of the time. If we want a way to avoid stress and to have a happy kind of balanced life, because balanced really isn't a thing, we have to be really, really intentional with that 20% of our day. To be intentional is to act purposely with a goal in mind and a plan for accomplishing it. Another little quote that I got. So you have to understand that the most important tip is to not forget that 20%. You have to lead generate in that 20%. You've got to keep in touch with your past clients. You've got to find new clients and basically be talking to everyone that you can. So how do we achieve that balance? So for me, it starts off with the Miracle Morning. I do the Miracle Morning every day. Every one of my clients do the Miracle Morning. It's a book by Hal Elrod. You can get it on Amazon. It's about $15. Make sure that you get the regular Miracle Morning because there's a lot of other editions after that. It's a proven fact that successful people have a morning routine, something that they do every day before they head out into the world. And my goal is for you to have peace before you head out into the chaos. So mind, body, spirit, you kind of touch all those areas. So it's 1 hour a day, 10-minute activities, 6 of them. So you do one activity for 10 minutes, another activity, another activity, another activity. And we'll go over those in a minute, but that's how I start my day every day. I also end my day every day with my time management. So when I get up in the morning, my schedule is already done for the day because I did it the night before. So this helps me a lot with making sure that I do a brain dump basically at the end of the day. I take all of my notes, I sit down with my calendar, and everyone who knows me with my little glass of tequila, and I spend about a half an hour prepping my next day. So I will go through my schedule, I'll see where my standing appointments are, and then I figure out where my gaps are in my calendar. And then I take those and I put my to-do list in those gaps. So sometimes it's only a 15-minute gap, sometimes it's drive time, a half an hour somewhere, sometimes I have a 2-hour gap. And I take those gaps and I make sure that I'm intentional and I'm purposeful with that time. So again, if it's a 15-minute gap, I'm gonna write out a couple of cards. If it's a half an hour drive, I'm gonna make a couple of phone calls. If it's a 2-hour gap, I may be prepping for a class or something. But every night I sit down with that calendar and I prep for the next day. I get up in the morning and I do my Miracle Morning. So I really don't have to think in the morning or in the evening, right? I've got that, and then all the time in between is as productive as I can be. You want to lead generate, you want to put systems into your place. You want to buy a planner and a notebook, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. In your calendar, you also want to make sure that you put all of your family activities first. This is vital to having that balance and to having that peace of mind, knowing that they're first, they should always be first. I put my granddaughter activities in my calendar. I put time with my my husband in my calendar. I put all of that in my calendar so that I can work around that, because that's the most important thing to me, and that allows me to have that balance. Don't react to your day. Plan for it is really what the main thing is. If you have that plan, then you're not going to react to your day. You're actually going to have a plan, and you're going to be able to execute it. Back to the morning routine with Hal Elrod and the Miracle Morning. Very quickly, I want to go over the 6 activities. So we have SAVERS is your acronym. So S, the first letter, is for silence. You want to have 10 minutes of meditation, devotion, prayer, whatever it is that works for you. I had a really hard time with this, sitting still for 10 minutes and not, thinking about the 30 other things that I had to do. So I downloaded an app on my phone called Headspace, and it taught me how to have a guided meditation. And I still use it to this day, and I've been doing it for 6 years. So it's pretty effective. The A stands for affirmation. The loudest voice in your head is your own. And it will tend to go back in a rear view mirror syndrome, if you will. You've never been able to do this. Why do you think you can do this now? The human mind just tends to go to that negative place. I can't, I'm not good at. So the goal with affirmations is to reprogram your brain into thinking positive. So for example, I just got a new Mac, and every day I wake up and I tell myself, I am mastering this Mac. I'm getting there, but it helps me to have those affirmations and to take that negative stuff out of my brain. V is for visualization, being able to visualize yourself somewhere. You can't go somewhere unless you can see yourself there. And I joke and say, women, that could be in a size 3 bikini in a Tesla, or it could be building your dream home, or it could be helping other people and building homes for them. It could be whatever you want it to be, but you've got to be able to visualize it in order to accomplish it. E is for exercise. We need more than 10 minutes exercise, but just a little bit of getting moving. And I sit on a yoga ball and do some stretches and kind of work that way, or I get on my treadmill. R, reading, feeding your brain positive information and feeding your, just getting knowledge in whatever it is that you're reading. And the final S is for scribing, because journaling didn't work in the acronym. And that is extremely powerful. So a lot of people struggle with this as well. And I always tell people to start off with a gratitude journal. If you start with a gratitude journal, your day can't go bad. I just had a rough couple of months towards the end of 2022, and I found myself feeling a little sorry for myself, and I focused a little bit more on that journaling side and the gratitude side, and I kind of snapped myself out of it a lot quicker. Now I'm to the point to where I've journaled so much that my son just hired a ghostwriter, and we're going to be writing a book from all the journals that I've written over the years. So you evolve into journaling, but start with that gratitude, and I think that'll work really well. I can't say enough about this. It's super powerful, and you will find your groove. It might be an hour, it might be an hour and a half, it might be 45 minutes. You might have young ones still at home, and you can't do it in the morning, so you do it a little bit later after you send those little minions off somewhere. You'll find your groove, and you'll find what works for you, but the most important thing is to take care of your mind, body, and spirit before you head out into that chaos of the world. Time blocking, we talked about that a little bit, but take that notebook that I told you to buy and write notes in it throughout the day. Keep it all in one place. If you're not paper and you're digital, then put it in your phone. Early on in my career, I was the person who wrote notes on my envelopes and in my car and things that I had nearby, and then I'd lose them and I couldn't follow up with the client. So keep it all in one space, and then that allows you to kind of brain dump and do that, and allows you to do the time blocking that you need to do for the next day. Systems, we talked about systems, but those are things that will keep you in that momentum. So you do your miracle morning, you head out for the day, you've got your plan. Having those systems in place are going to be the other thing. What do you do every day? You open the MLS every day. You see what happened overnight in your dashboard, how many price decreases there were, how many price increases there were, how many listings, the inventory, so that you're knowledgeable about what's happening in your market. You lead generate. What does that look like to you? Are you making phone calls today? Are you sending out cards? Are you marketing a neighborhood? You have that whole plan in front of you. Every day you lead generate. Every day you open the MLS. You have those systems in place. Do you have a CRM? Are you opening the CRM and looking at your pipeline? All of those things are important in having that momentum. Lead generation intentions, you have to pick one at a time. People tend to get really squirrely because everyone's telling them to go in 37 different directions, and you should try this, and you should do this, and you should do that. Focus on one or two things at a time, whether it's FSBOs or expireds or farming a neighborhood or open houses or any number of things, internet leads. I mean, I can go on and on with the things that you're doing. Do one or two at a time so that you don't go squirrel and you're staying focused, because again, that's a big piece of having this balance. I want to give you a couple tips on systems. So a system could be when you close on a house, you put it in your calendar the day of closing at the closing table to contact, let's say it's a Smiths that you're working with. You put into your calendar in 3 months to call the Smiths, and in 6 months to drop a card in the mail to the Smiths, and at 9 months to do a pop-by gift, and at a year to wish them a happy anniversary. That is a system. By putting it into your calendar, it will pop up and it will remind you, hey, I gotta call the Smiths. And the phone call is, hey, Mr. Smith, how's it going? I just want to check in and see if you're settled in and if you've had to use your home warranty or if you need anything. I got a list of resources that I can help you with if you need anything. It's just a follow-up call. And I promise you, Mr. Smith is looking at the phone after you hang up going, wow, they cashed their check 3 months ago and they're still calling. Mr. Smith knows people. And if you're staying top of mind with Mr. Smith, then he will refer them. If someone mentions real estate, your name will pop up if you're staying in front of them. And we all have really good intentions when we're closing on our client, and we're going to stay in touch with them, and we tend to forget. So just simply putting it into your calendar, those four times a year increments will help you to have a system and to stay in touch with them. Let me just do a little wrap up here. So, miracle morning, calendar at night gives you that peace of mind, gives you that momentum that you need to go into that chaotic day. Setting up systems and doing the same things every day, not necessarily in the same order at the same time. If you're like me, you get bored with doing the same things all over again. But switching those up and making sure they're on your calendar every day. Lead generation has got to be on your calendar a minimum of 2 to 3 hours, depending on what you do. If you still have a job or if you're full-time real estate, you can break it up in your day, but making sure that lead generation is there, making sure you're checking the MLS to know what's happening and being knowledgeable in your field, and getting out and meeting people and lead generating. That's what lead generating is. Okay, so it may not be easy to find this life balance, but I promise you it can be done if you just follow these simple things. If you have any questions, give me a call. Thanks.